afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you all to the Willie O'Ree Rink dedication at Smith Field in Allston, Brighton. It's obviously a special time. It's the 60th anniversary of Willie breaking the color barrier in Montreal, January 18th, 1958. And the one thing after meeting Willie about 15 years ago, the word that comes to mind for me is perseverance. Not too many people know this story, but before Willie turned pro, he basically lost his eyesight in his right eye, and Willie was a left winger. So upon turning pro, Willie volunteered to play the right side so he could have his left eye as his strong eye and basically continued to play professional hockey for 21 years. For over the last 20 years, Willie has been the director of the NHL Diversity Program as their ambassador, traveling throughout North America to spend time with underprivileged kids, kids in need, all around the country in the US and Canada. At this time, I'd like to welcome the CEO of the Boston Bruins and Boston Holdings, Charlie Jacobs.
Wow, thank you, Swoop. I appreciate it very much. First and foremost, welcome everybody. Wonderful to have everybody here. Score Boston. I see you guys here in the front row supporting your Bruins jerseys and Score Boston. I love that. And also Artists for Humanity, who thank you guys, because this is a wonderful mural behind us here. And for those of you who don't know, a mural just like this will go up at the Allston Brighton Rink, and also we'll have one here at our sports museum for permanent display here at the TD Garden. So thank you so much for your contributions for that. I'd like to thank Mayor Walsh, who's behind me. Sorry, Mayor, to be in front of you here. And, of course, Commissioner Bettman. And, most importantly, Mr. O'Ree, Willie O'Ree. Congratulations. Yes. I know it's been an eventful week. I heard you met with Coach York this week at BC from my alma mater. I hope you guys had a good talk. Maybe get our Eagles going. The mayor's from BC too, so I hope we all support each other here. And if I may just speak a little bit about what happened 60 years ago today, on a night, it's perhaps serendipitous that we happen to be playing our arch rival, the Montreal Canadiens, tonight, that Willie O'Ree got a call. I think this was probably from Milt Schmidt. Was that correct? Did you get a call from Milt to come on up?
Yes.
So
in Quebec.
Many of us Bruins here think of Milt Schmidt as the embodiment of a Boston Bruin, and to have Willie get a call to come play for the Boston Bruins against the Montreal Canadiens is truly not only monumentous in that it was breaking of a color barrier for the hockey, but to get it from the iconic Milt Schmidt, what I would call is the embodiment of the Boston Bruins as a whole. And perhaps what's most remarkable is that Willie was completely unaware that he was breaking the color barrier when he got the call. In fact, I don't think it even occurred to him until maybe a couple nights later. I hope that's accurate. And I also think it's worth noting that the Bruins won that night 3-0. So we're hoping that you're going to bring us some good luck tonight. Okay, Coach? But seriously, on a separate note, we're very proud as an organization to have Willie as an alumnus. I personally wasn't around when Willie was playing, but from what I've heard, Willie really is the embodiment of a Bruin. And really what I think the larger message that has allowed Willie to carry is that hockey is for everyone. So when we're here today, we're here to hope and to dedicate a rink to Willie O'Ree, and it serves in a place in our community here in Massachusetts, in the Commonwealth, and more specifically in Boston, about the game of hockey, and really the embodiment of Willie's work and his commitment to the game. Through programs like Learn to Play, the Bruins and others are giving boys and girls an opportunity to play hockey who otherwise have not had the opportunity to do so. We are truly committed to growing the game and are so honored to have a wonderful ambassador and alumnus such as Willie to represent us. So I want to thank the NHL for the commitment to building this rink and Commissioner Bettman for being here. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to the Commissioner. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Charlie, Mayor Walsh, guests, and most important, Willie. It's an honor to be here today. On January 19th, 1958, the Boston Globe published a UPI wire service report about the Bruins game in Montreal the previous night. A 3-0 victory by the Bruins, as you just heard, over their arch-rival Montreal Canadiens. The report prominently mentioned the NHL debut of a rookie left wing from the Quebec Aces. The player's name was Willie O'Ree, and the 22-year-old's performance, according to the story, was undistinguished. I actually saw the article this morning. It was remarkable. Willie didn't score any goals against Jacques Plante that Saturday night at the Montreal Forum. Johnny Busick, Larry Regan, and Bronco Horvath took care of that. And Willie didn't play all that much. He rotated with Johnny Pearson on the Bruins' third line. And while I wasn't there, I think I was 5 years old at the time, I would question the use of the term undistinguished for a number of reasons, including, or especially, because of the challenges Willie O'Ree overcame to earn his number 22 Bruins jersey for that game. Willie's speed, his skill, and his sheer perseverance earned him a job in what was then the 6-team National Hockey League, and obviously jobs as a player in those days were scarce. But his determination to concentrate on what he could see, not what he couldn't see, carried him past an eye injury that you heard about that would have stopped anyone who didn't share Willie's character, his courage, and his will to succeed at the sport he loved. Willie powered past blindness in his right eye, and he taught himself to be as hard of hearing as possible when the noise from the crowd or the opposing bench got vicious and hurtful, which it did at times. 60 years ago tomorrow, as we all know, Willie truly distinguished himself by becoming our first black player, and he has distinguished himself ever since in sharing his commitment to our game, sharing his hockey joy, the lessons that the game teaches with young people. Willie was a pretty good baseball player in his youth. And when he debuted in the NHL on January 18th, 1958, that was about 15 months after Jackie Robinson played his final baseball game. Willie met Jackie Robinson in Brooklyn in 1949 and came away with some important advice from Jackie Robinson. Jackie told him, whatever sport you choose, work hard and do your very best, Jackie Robinson said to Willie. And he also said things will then work out for you. Willie chose hockey, and we are honored and thrilled that he did. We celebrate not only the 45 games he played in the NHL, but at the countless thousands he has inspired since he became our Hockey is for Everyone ambassador in 1998. From the Score Hockey program here in Boston, to Snyder Hockey in Philadelphia, to Fort DuPont Ice Hockey in Washington, and the other 23 Hockey is for Everyone programs in all directions from here, we celebrate Willie's impact on our youngsters and on our sport. Over 120,000 boys and girls have participated in Hockey is for Everyone programs, have learned from Willie to respect the game, to respect themselves, and to respect others. As we prepare to launch our 2018 Hockey is for Everyone month, activities during this month are throughout North America, but it is impossible to imagine that any of today's programs from Hockey is for Everyone without Willie O'Ree, without the strength in his voice, without his wisdom, or without his counsel. Willie has more than distinguished himself, and today we give back in just a few small ways. Marking the 60th anniversary of his NHL debut offers another beginning with the naming of a street hockey rink for him at Smithfield, as you've heard. There, new generations of young players can learn about Willie, his legend, and they can learn to live his principles. A mural on display here, as you've seen, and at other community rinks will memorialize Willie's remarkable achievements. And Willie, on behalf of the National Hockey League, we have a small souvenir of the game in Montreal 60 years ago when you changed our game forever and for which we are grateful. We offer you this gift with heartfelt appreciation for your courage, your resolve, and your steadfast commitment to the growth of hockey. So let me present to you the game sheets from your first game.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's awesome. Congratulations, Willie. I'd now like to invite the Mayor of Boston, Marty J. Walsh, to come up for a special proclamation.
Thank you very much, Bob. And I want to. This is a pretty exciting day for a kid that grew up in Dorchester and was a Bruins fan from way back in the day. It's exciting to be here today, and I want to thank everyone who had something to do with putting today together. I want to thank Charlie Jacobs and the Boston Bruins for doing this day and being such a great partner in the city of Boston on so many different fronts. Thank you, Charlie, for everything you do and your entire team here, and Amy and everyone else, and your dad, so thank you. Commissioner Bettman, I want to thank you as well. Commissioner Bettman was in Boston a couple years ago dedicating another rink, and he's another one that's invested in our city and cares about the young people of our city. So I want to thank you, Commissioner, for being here with us today as well. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people in the room. One is I want to thank the Boston Parks and Recreation Department, Chris Cook, Commissioner Chris Cook, and Ryan and Michael and Jennifer and other folks that are here from the Parks Department. Thank you very much for the great work you do. I want to thank Austin Blackman, Chief of the Environment in the City of Boston, for the great work you do. I want to thank Cam Neely. Growing up, watching Cam Neely play for the Bruins was incredible, number 8. And before Cam Neely, watching Johnny Busick, the Chief, play. And some of my first memories of hockey is watching Johnny Busick play for the Bruins and seeing his number get retired here in the Boston Garden, and actually in the Boston Garden behind us, or next to us, wherever it was. And seeing him score some of those goals and beating the Canadians. I wasn't around for that game, but I'm glad you beat the Canadians, so thank you very much. And of course, Willie O'Ree. Willie, thank you for being here. I'm going to talk about you in a second. But to the young people that are in front of me, this is a big deal. This man behind me has in common with just a few people in the world. Jackie Robinson, obviously being the first black baseball player to ever play in the major leagues. President Barack Obama, being the first black president of the United States of America. This man behind me accomplished something very special, becoming the first black player ever to play in the National Hockey League. And back when he did it 60 years ago, it was a whole different world than it is today. And it was an incredible feat, an incredible accomplishment. And he set the tone for so many other young people to be able to come. And many black players that played in the league since Willie O'Ree have come and skated for the Bruins and for other teams around the NHL. So I want you to understand the magnitude of what this guy has done to change the sport of hockey. Willie O'Ree is a Boston legend. He broke new ground as an athlete and certainly as an ambassador. He changed Boston for the better. And a couple weeks ago, there was a big series in the Globe talking about race in Boston and race in Massachusetts. And one thing that was excluded from that story was Willie O'Ree's accomplishments and what he was able to do by breaking the color barrier in the NHL. And so there is positive stories from 60 years ago, and Willie O'Ree certainly is one of them. Our city will always be grateful for his courage and his leadership, and I had a chance to talk to him a little bit about his playing here for the Boston Bruins and playing in Boston. We're going to continue to honor him by sharing his commitments to inclusion and progress. We're never going to rest on where we are as a city, and never going to rest where we are as a state, or we should never rest where we are as a country. Breaking down barriers in sports and making sure that all young people in our city knows that there's a place that they can accomplish their dreams. If they're an athlete, if they're a scholar, or whatever it is that you want to do, don't ever let anyone tell you you can't accomplish it. Because if you do that, then you're not going to accomplish it. And this man didn't do that. He continued to push forward. We want to make sure also, we're excited to see that a new city-owned hockey rink is going to bear his name. And the dedication of the Smithfield in Alston to Willie O'Ree is going to be pretty awesome. I know anybody from Brighton here? Any of you guys from Brighton? No, you're Brighton. Oh, so you can play in the rink. Well, everyone can play in the rink, but you can play in the rink more than everyone else. It's going to be close to the Bruins' new practice facility. It's a place where kids from all backgrounds and abilities will be able to have fun and come together and enjoy playing hockey. And it's also a fitting tribute to a person who certainly made sure that everyone had a chance to play this game. This commitment of inclusion is driving everything we do in the city of Boston. That's why it's important for us that we continue to create opportunities for our kids to be outside and active. And it's why our parks and sports facility are more accessible for kids in all abilities. We want to make sure that our kids have access to all of our parks. So it's important why we did this park. So on behalf of the city of Boston, I want to thank everyone for being here. And as I said, this is one of the coolest things I get to do as mayor. I've been mayor now for 4 years, so I'm pretty excited about today. So I have a little bit of a proclamation. If you can bear with me for a minute, I just want to read this proclamation because there's something special at the very end of it. So the proclamation from the city of Boston, whereas Willie O'Ree broke the color barrier as the first black player in the National Hockey League, making history and paving way for future generations in the sport of hockey. Whereas throughout his playing career, this is both in the professional and the minor leagues, this man scored more than 400 goals, including 409 assists. Now, anyone that follows hockey, you know that's a pretty incredible accomplishment. Willie O'Ree's 21-year commitment to the sport led to an induction into the New Brunswick Hall of Fame in 1984. And Willie O'Ree has been recipient of many awards, including the prestigious Lester Patrick Trophy, which is awarded to an individual who has made long-lasting impacts in the NHL. The city of Boston will always be grateful for Willie O'Ree's courage and resilience throughout his playing career and beyond. And Boston is honored to be a part of Willie O'Ree's legacy. I, Martin J. Walsh, Mayor of the City of Boston, today to proclaim January 18, 2018 is Willie O'Ree Day in the City of Boston. So congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Without further ado, the man, Willie O'Ree.
First of all, it certainly is a pleasure for me to be here today. I just want to thank my family for being here. We arrived here last Friday, and I've been busy going to rinks and attended the tournament with the SCORE program, boys and girls. And it just feels like Boston is my second home. The first time I came here was in 1957 at training camp, and Johnny Busick took me under his wing at training camp, and I just felt like just one of the team. And then I went back to Quebec and finished the year out there, and then I came back in 1958. But Boston has been a second home to me. And I just want to thank the mayor for those kind words. I want to thank the city of Boston and the Boston Bruin organization for hosting my 60th anniversary. It doesn't feel like 60 years. I know when I broke the color barrier in 1958, and 10 years went by, and then 20 years, and 30, and 40, and then all of a sudden 50 years came by, and they honored me at my 50th anniversary. And now it's 60 years, and I just feel very honored and very thankful that I had the opportunity to come to the NHL, and thanks to Gary for appointing me the NHL's diversity director in 1998. And it has been just 20 good years of being with these boys and girls and traveling around and making these boys and girls say to themselves that you can do anything you set your mind to do. You have to feel within your heart, within your mind, and if you choose a career, stay focused on what you want to do and work towards your goals. And there's no substitute for hard work, and if anybody tells you there is, they're lying to you. You only get out of a thing what you put into it. So if you go out and put 40% into it, expect 40%. If you go out and do your very best, then you should pat yourself on the back, because that's all we can expect. But I'm just thrilled, and I'm overexcited. I got the shakes up here, but it really is a fine feeling to be back in Boston and being able to continue my work. So I want to thank everybody that came today. Enjoy the day. I'm looking forward to tonight's hockey game. I predict that the Bruins will win by at least 2 goals. So the two very special things in my life was when, first of all, when I broke into the National Hockey League in 1958. The second is when I scored my first goal in the National Hockey League, and it was here at the old Boston Gardens. And I just want to tell you just a couple of things of how I scored my first goal. We were warming up, and Bronco Horvath, one of my teammates, said, "Willie, if you ever get in on Hodge, keep the puck low. He's weak on low shots, but stay away from his glove hand." So we're warming up, and then we're coming out at the first period and played the second period. And third period, I'm busting down left wing, and Leo Boyven just hit me with a perfect pass. I didn't have to break stride, and I'm going in. I go around the defenseman, and now there's Charlie Hodge. And I went in, and the first thing I heard was Broncos in the back of my head, low, Willie, keep it low. So I go in and made a few shifts on Hodge, and then I shot the puck either right along the ice or was just off the ice. It hit the inside of the post and went in. That made it 3-1 for the Bruins. And then about 6 minutes later, Henri the Pocket Rocket scored. But the goal that I scored turned out to be the winning goal. And I got a standing ovation from the fans here in Boston. So thank you so very much. Boston is a home for me. Enjoy the day. And again, enjoy the game tonight. Go Bruins!